Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Friday, November 13th, 2020. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college football game and NFL game and look ahead to the weekend and make my picks for the weekend in each sport. KBO playoffs, we'll talk about that. The Masters is currently going on. COVID-related news and my Fab 5 picks in each college football and the NFL and my best bet as well. We'll start with college football. One game last night, and it was the game I chose my best bet for, and it completely was way off. Boise State defeated Colorado State by a score of 52-21. Boise's 3-1. Colorado State is 1-2. I thought Colorado State would keep this thing close, but it wasn't really that close as Boise State bounces back from the loss against BYU. Tonight we have a couple games in college football. It was supposed to be 4, but one of them was postponed or canceled due to COVID, unfortunately. So without further ado, let's go to the picks. The numbers are going to be brought to you by FanDuel. First up, tonight, 7 o'clock, FAU at FIU. FAU is giving 9.5, total 40.5. I project FAU by 7.5, total 46. So I'm pretty close here at the line. But I absolutely love the over here. I know FAU's been an under team all year long. But I think that is extremely low considering FIU's defense stinks. So give me over 40.5, and I think FIU will win. Iowa, Minnesota, Big Ten Friday. Iowa is giving 3.5, total 60.5. I project Iowa by 1.5, total 59.5. So the numbers are pretty close. So I'm going to take Minnesota plus the 3 in the hook. Worst case scenario, they lose by 3, and that's what I think is going to happen. Iowa's going to win this game by 3. East Carolina at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's giving a whopping 27.5, total 54.5. I project Cincinnati by 19, total 56.5. I'm going to take East Carolina plus the points to keep this thing competitive. I don't like the pick, but I like that pick better than taking the over because, yes, Cincinnati's defense is very good, but East Carolina's defense stinks out loud. So I'm going to take East Carolina plus 27.5 to keep it within the number. Although I think it may go over as well. I feel better about Eastern Carolina. All right, Saturday games. You have Army at Tulane. Tulane's giving 3.5, total 47.5. I project Army as a 9.5-point underdog, total 53.5. I love Tulane minus the 3.5. Army's a good team, but I think Tulane's actually pretty good too. I also like the over in this game, but I don't like it as much as I like Tulane laying the points. I know the juice is on Tulane, but I'm going to roll with Tulane. Coastal Carolina at Troy. Coastal's giving 11.5, total 52.5. I project Coastal by 5, total 53. I'm going to take Troy in the points. I don't think Troy will win, but I think they stay within the number. Indiana, Michigan State. Indiana's giving 7.5, total 52.5. I project this game to be Indiana 2.5, total 50. I'm taking Sparty in the 7 in the hook. The hook makes this very enticing. I think Indiana will win, but I think it'll be a close game. Miami against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's favored by 2.5, total 67.5. I project this game to be Miami by 1, total 64. This is tough, guys. Should I take the Canes or should I take the under? I'm going to take the under because I think the value is there. I think there's a shot Miami pulls it off. But I'm going to say that Virginia Tech wins. So I don't feel good about taking Miami getting the 2.5. I'm going to go under 67.5 instead. I think Miami can get a couple stops here. I think Vatek can too. And 33-30 final. That's a under. Middle Tennessee against Marshall. Marshall's giving 23.5, total 56.5. I project Marshall to be giving 14, total 52.5. I'm going to take Middle in the points. No, I don't think Middle will win. I just think that they will cover. Penn State, Nebraska. Penn State's giving 3.5, total 56.5. I project Penn State by 4, total 57. So this is like right on the money. So I'm going to actually make the case for Penn State as the favorite here. The value's there. All the money is on Nebraska, plus 3.5 and minus 122. Penn State's 0-3, and they're giving 3.5. Something's got to give, and you're getting plus money. So give me Penn State minus the 3.5 against Nebraska. TCU, West Virginia. West Virginia's giving 2.5, total 45.5. I project TCU by 5, total 50.5. I think my projection's wrong here. West Virginia's actually pretty good. So I'm going to go with the over instead. West Virginia can score. TCU, I think, can get some points here too. So I'm going to go with the over in this game, although West Virginia overs have not done me well lately, as we saw last week. But their defense is good. That's why their overs have not been hitting. But Texas actually stepped up and played a good defensive game last week against them. So I'm going to say bounce back offense spot for West Virginia. I think West Virginia wins, so I don't trust the line that I'm projecting here. So I'm going to go with the over instead. Vanderbilt, Kentucky. Kentucky's giving 17.5, total 41.5. I project Kentucky by 6.5, total 44. I'm taking Vandy in the 17.5 just to make it close. Wake against North Carolina. North Carolina is giving 12.5, total 66.5. I project the Tar Heels by 18, total 63.5. I'm laying the 12.5 with the Tar Heels. Last week was impressive. I don't think Wake Forest is all that good. It's going to be North Carolina minus the 12.5. And the slate juice is on them at minus 112. Western Carolina against Liberty. Liberty's giving a whopping 32.5, total 60.5. I project Liberty by 33.5, total 61.5. So my numbers are pretty good. But the number I trust more is the over, because I think Liberty can just flat out score. And I won't be shocked if Western backdoors them. So I'm going to say over 60.5. 2 o'clock, South Alabama, Louisiana Lafayette. Louisiana's giving 15.5, total 53.5. I project Louisiana by 18.5, total 50. I'm taking Louisiana minus the 15.5. I think they're due for an ass-kicking game, and I don't like South Alabama that much. 2:30, Fresno State, Utah State. Fresno's giving 9.5, total 54.5. I project this game to be Fresno by 2.5, total 53. So I'm going to take the 9.5 in Utah State. They're just due the cover. And the value's there minus 104, so it could conceivably go back up to 10 at some point. A game I forgot in the 12 o'clock window, Illinois Rutgers. Rutgers is giving 6.5, total 52.5. I project Illinois by 1, total 60. So I don't think Illinois is that good. I think Rutgers might actually be better than them. So I like the over instead. Rutgers has a capability of putting up points. Illinois, I think, can score on Rutgers' defense, but I think the over is more likely than Illinois covering. So give me Rutgers over 52.5 against Illinois, or Rutgers, Illinois over 52.5. I think Rutgers wins, but Illinois covers. Alrighty. Next up is Back to the 2:30 spot. Georgia State, App State. App State giving 16.5, total 62.5. I project App State by 15, total 62.5. Oh my goodness, it's right. Like, so close. I hate when this happens. I'm going to take Georgia State in the 16.5 because that's my only choice. I don't really like it. Next up, 3 o'clock, UTEP, UTSA. UTSA is giving 6.5, total 45.5. I project UTSA by 5, total 52.5. I'm taking the over here. I think both of these teams can score on one another. I don't like either of their defenses. I don't like any of their offenses either, but I hate their defenses. 3:30, Colorado, Stanford. Stanford's giving a whopping 7.5, total 54.5. I project Stanford by 2, total 69.5. I don't know if I like Colorado or the over more. I don't like Stanford's offense at all. Give me Colorado plus the 7.5. I think they have a shot to win the game outright. I don't know if they will, but I just like them getting the points more than I like the over. Louisville, Virginia. Virginia's giving 3.5, total 66.5. This game was supposed to be played last week, but now it's being played this week. I have Louisville actually projected as a 1.5 point favorite, total 66.5. I'm going to take Louisville in the 3.5, and I'm going to take them plus 146 on the money line to win the game outright against Virginia. Notre Dame, Boston College. Notre Dame's giving 13.5, total 49.5. I project Notre Dame by 9.5, total 51. I'm taking Boston College plus the points. Classic letdown spot. No, Notre Dame's not losing this game. I just think they won't cover, and it's a close game until the end. South Florida, Houston. Houston's giving 13.5, total 57.5. I project Houston to be giving 7.5, total 61.5. I don't know what to do here. I'm going to go with the over. I don't like South Florida at all, and because they never cover. So I'm going to take the over instead. Southern Miss, Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's giving 7.5, total 45.5. I project Western Kentucky as a 2-point underdog, total 56. I'm going to do another underdog here, Southern Miss plus 7.5. And I think they win the game outright too. So I'm going to take them plus 290 on the money line to win the game outright. Texas State, Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern's giving 9.5, total 48.5. I project Georgia Southern by 20.5, total 52.5. So I'm going to lay the 9.5 with Georgia Southern. I think Texas State stinks. Southern's not bad, so I'll give you Southern minus 9.5 against Texas State. USC, Arizona. USC's giving 14.5, total 67.5. I project SC to be favored in this game by, where is that line? Oh, there it is. 9.5, total 57. I'm going to take the under here rather than Arizona. This is Arizona's first game. I think USC's defense is a little bit better than what it showed last week. I just think Arizona State's pretty good. So I'm going to say under 67.5 in USC, Arizona. And the juice is at minus 108, so I like it even more. 4 o'clock, Baylor, Texas Tech. Baylor's giving 1.5, total 57.5. I project Baylor by 5.5, total 62.5. I'm taking Baylor minus the 1.5. I don't like it, but I'm going to roll with it. And I also like over 57.5. Wait, over or under? Yeah, over 57.5 as well. But Baylor's going to be the play here. I just don't think Texas Tech is that good. Hawaii, San Diego State. San Diego State's giving 10.5, total 53.5. I project San Diego State by 3, total 49. I'm taking Hawaii getting the points. No, I don't think they'll win. I just think they'll cover. 6:30, Nevada, New Mexico. Nevada's giving a whopping 17.5, total 62.5. I project Nevada by 5.5, total 61. I'm taking New Mexico again, plus the points they covered last week. I think they cover again. Arkansas, Florida. Florida's giving a whopping 17.5, total 59.5. I project Florida to be giving 11, total 61. I'm taking Arkansas plus the points. Letdown spot potentially for the Gators after their big win over Georgia. Now we're in the 7 o'clock window, starting with that game I just talked about. And now Oregon, Washington State. Oregon's giving 10.5 on the road, total 57.5. I project Oregon by 3, total 57.5. I'm taking Wazoo plus the points. I don't love this Oregon team on the road. And Wazoo at home, I think they can keep this close. They showed me a little something against Oregon State last week. And by the way, they were not a big dog, but they were a dog against Oregon State, in which they shouldn't have been. And they were one of my Fab 5 last week. SMU, Tulsa. Tulsa's giving 2.5, total 64.5. I project this game to be SMU 7.5, total 60.5. Give me SMU plus the 2.5. I absolutely love it. They're plus 116 on the money line. So give me SMU 2.5. I think they win the game outright. Florida State, NC State, 7:30. NC State's giving 10.5, total 58.5. I project NC State 3.5, total 62.5. And for the first time, I think all year, I'm going against NC State. NC State was one of my favorite bet-on teams all year. Not so fast this week. I'm taking the Seminoles to cover this game against the Wolfpack. Northwestern, Purdue. And by the way, now we're in 7:30. If I didn't mention that earlier, Northwestern's giving 2.5, total 50.5. I project this game to be Northwestern as a 1-point underdog, total 45. I think Purdue wins, but I like the under a little bit more, so I'm going to go under 50.5. I think some negative regression coming for Northwestern's offense. So give me the under 50.5 between Northwestern and Purdue. South Carolina, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is giving 11.5, total 70.5. Ole Miss, I have slated here as a 1.5-point dog. The South Carolina, total 68.5. I'm taking South Carolina plus the points. I think my line's wrong, but I don't think South Carolina will win. I just think they'll cover against Ole Miss in a shootout. Temple, UCF. UCF's giving a whopping 25.5, total 76.5. I project UCF by 15.5, total 70. I'm taking Temple and the points. They keep it within the number. Wisconsin, Michigan. Wisconsin's giving 4.5 on the road, total 53.5. Looks like their quarterback's going to be back from COVID. I have this as a pick'em, total 56.5. I'm taking Michigan in the 4.5. It's just weird to see the Wolverines as an underdog, and Wisconsin hasn't played in so long. I think Michigan will win the game outright, plus 160 on the money line. So give me Michigan plus 4.5 against Wisconsin. Even if Wisconsin wins by 3, it's a winning bet. And the juice is on Michigan at minus 115 as well. 10:30, Cal, Arizona State. This game is rumored to be postponed, but it's still hanging on the board, so we're going to pick it. Arizona State's giving 3.5, total 46.5. Arizona State's giving, I have them projected 5.5 total, 49.5. And like I said, Zona State's giving 3.5 total, 46.5. I'm going to lay the 3.5 with Zona State. This is Cal's first game, and I think this is a bounce back spot for Herm Edwards' team. So give me Arizona State minus 3.5. The juice is in their favor at minus 102, and so you can win more if you bet it, assuming this game is played. UNLV, San Jose State. San Jose State's giving a whopping 16.5, total 59.5. I project San Jose State by 2.5, total 48.5. I'm taking UNLV in the points again. I don't think San Jose State's this good. I think that UNLV will cover, but San Jose State will win. Utah, UCLA. Utah's giving 2.5, total 59.5. So I didn't realize that this game got moved to tomorrow night. I project Utah to be favored in this game by 3.5, total 69.5. Utah is actually favored by 2.5, total 59.5. I love the over here. Yes, Utah's defense is good, but Utah's offense is good, and you know else is good, UCLA's offense. So I'm going to take my shot here on the over in this game, and it's sitting at 59.5. And I could see UCLA like getting a garbage time touchdown for the over to hit, and the juice is in its favor at minus 108 as well. Oregon State and Washington, last but not least. Washington's favored by 13.5, total 52.5. I project Washington 9.5, total 58.5. I really don't want to take the Beavers, so I'm going to take the over, in which I have a bigger edge on, and that's at 52.5. I might have a 6-point edge on it, so I'm going to go Oregon State, Washington over 52.5 as my final pick of the week for Week 11 in college football. And now to the NFL. We'll go over the Thursday night games, and we'll do the picks for week number 10. The Colts defeated the Titans 34-17. The Colts are now 6-3. Tennessee 6-3. So Indy now technically in first place in the division. Phillip Rivers 29-39, 308 yards and a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill 15-27, 147 yards and a touchdown. The special teams for the Colts was very good. There was a blocked punt for a touchdown. And Tennessee's special teams was terrible. There was a 17-yard punt, which led to the 2-yard run by Nyheim Hines in the third quarter. And there was a missed field goal by Steven Gostkowski in this game as well. So special teams was the difference in this game for Indianapolis. And now we'll look ahead to Sunday's games for week number 10. First up, you got Houston and Cleveland. Cleveland's giving 3.5, total 48.5. I project Cleveland 5, total 54.5. I'm going to take the over in this game. I think that the Cleveland offense will bounce back here and put up a good showing. I think Houston can score with Cleveland. I think the Browns will win. I have a little bit of an edge on the Browns too, but I like the over better. Next up, Eagles-Giants. Eagles giving 3.5, total 44.5. I project the Eagles by a whopping 8.5, total 44. I'm laying it with the Eagles. Yes, the Giants are in every game. I get it. Everybody loves the Giants. And I feel like everyone and their brother is going to be picking the Giants this week. But I'm going to say Eagles 3.5 against the Giants. And the juice is in their favor at minus 104. Next up, you have the Bucs at the Panthers. The Bucs giving 5.5, total 50.5. I have to do some adjustments on the fly here because McCaffrey is hurt and he is worth a lot of points for a non-quarterback against the spread. So with him injured, now instead of 7.5, I project the Bucs by 10, total 49. I'm laying the 5.5 with the Bucs. Like I said, no Christian McCaffrey. That offense is not really that good without him. And so I think bounce back spot for the Bucs defense after getting shredded by the Saints. I love it. So give me the Bucs minus 5.5 against the Panthers. And the juice is on the Bucs too. Next up, you have the Washington football team at the Lions. Detroit's giving 4.5. We don't have a total here. So I'm going to go to Sugar House for a second, see if they have a total for this game, and they don't. I don't get it. Is it because of Stafford? This is so odd that there's no total for this game. Now I'm going to check DraftKings and see if they have a total up for this Detroit game against Washington. No! I'm mad at myself now because there's no total. So, I have Detroit projected as a 2.5-point favorite. There's no total up right now, which is odd. So I have to take Washington plus the 4.5. I hate the pick because there's no total. And I'm tempted to see what the total is. So maybe I could throw some chuckles at it. So podcast pick by default, Washington 4.5. And I think Detroit wins a close one. Jacksonville and Green Bay. Green Bay's giving 13.5 over under 50. I project Green Bay by 11.5 total, 54.5. I'm going to take the over here. Green Bay might be able to do it by themselves. No Gardner Minshew, but Jake Luton actually played well yesterday on Sunday. I won't be that stunned if he plays well again. But maybe I could see the running game carrying the Jags a little bit. And Green Bay's defense is not all world. So I'm going to go over 50. Green Bay wins by double digits. 4 o'clock window. So there's only 5 1 o'clock games and 6 4 o'clock games. And they're doing that because the Masters finale is on Sunday, which we'll get to on the show. So in the 4 o'clock window, Bills-Cardinals. The Cardinals are giving 2.5 total, 56.5. I project the Bills actually to be favored in the spot by 2 total, 52.5. I don't want to take the Bills at all. I think it's a tempting play, but I don't have the balls to do it. But I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going to take the under in a Bills game. I think that there's going to be some stops in this game. So, like, 24-27 gets it done. I feel like that's the kind of game we're going to get. 30-24 even gets it done. But I just don't see this game into the... I can see this game into the 60s, but I'm going to go with the under here. And I think that Arizona wins. So I really don't trust my Bills projection here. And I don't really trust the under either. So I'm going to go under. I was hoping that I have an edge on the over in this game, but nope. Denver at Las Vegas. Denver is a 4.5-point underdog, total 50.5. I project this as a pick'em, total 52.5. I'm taking Denver plus the 4.5. I don't think they'll win, but I think that they cover the 4.5. I think Oakland or Las Vegas wins a close one. A sneaky good game between the Chargers and the Dolphins. Dolphins are a 1.5-point favorite, total 48.5. I project this as a pick'em, total 48.5. They always try to screw me with this. I'm taking the Chargers plus the 1.5. I think they can actually win this game outright. And you know what? I actually do think they'll win the game outright. Too much Miami Tua buzz. Too much hype. I can see the Chargers actually pulling one from the rabbit this week. So give me the Chargers plus 1.5 and plus 102 on the money line. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's giving only 6.5 total, 45.5. And this total is low because of the possibility that Ben Roethlisberger doesn't play due to COVID. I have Pittsburgh projected 11 total, 49.5. And say if Ben were to sit, he's worth 5 points to the spread. So I'd make this Pittsburgh 6 without Roethlisberger. And Pittsburgh, it looks like they're preparing Roethlisberger to come back, according to reports. Let me just double check on that. So, in terms of this game, the Steelers are poised to get Ben Roethlisberger off the COVID list. So, Ian Rappaport believes he'll be back, so I'm going to lay this 6.5 with the Steelers. And quite honestly, I'll take it now before it goes up. So, I'm going to take the 6.5 with the Steelers here. Do I feel good about it? If Roethlisberger does, of course I do, because yes, the Bengals have been really, really good in terms of a gambling perspective, but this is a whole nother ball game. This Pittsburgh defense, I think, could pick off Burrow a couple times. I think their defense can win this by themselves, quite frankly. They might not even need Roethlisberger for this game. But I think they'll bring him back just in case, because Cincinnati's offense has shown an ability to be in shootouts. So, give me the Steelers minus 6.5, and the juice is on it at minus 118. So it looks like many people believe what I believe, that he's coming back. 49ers Saints. The Saints are giving 9.5, total 48.5. I project the Saints by 8, total 51.5. I hate this pick, but I'm taking the over. My numbers are pretty close here. And my over is a 3-point edge. Just give me over 48.5 in San Francisco, New Orleans. Seahawks, Rams. This is probably the Joe Buck, Troy Aikman special. The Rams are 2-point favorites, total 54.5. I project Seahawks by 3, total 54. This is so hard. I really don't like what I've seen from Seattle lately, but I have no choice but to take the Seahawks plus 2. And I think the Rams can absolutely win this game. Maybe they win by 1. Maybe Seattle wins on a field goal. So, I'm going to take the Seahawks getting the 2. I hate this pick so much. And it's for certain you won't be seeing this in 5-5. Sunday Night Football, Ravens-Patriots. Ravens are 7-point favorites, over under 43.5. I project Ravens by 7, total 43. This is horrible. I hate this scenario. I have no choice but to take the under here. I think that the Ravens defense will give Cam Newton some problems. I think that the Patriots defense can get some stops on Lamar, but although I could see Lamar running around and whatnot. So the case for the under is that the Ravens are a run-heavy offense, milk a lot of clock, and their defense gets the right number of stops. Ravens win this game 28-13. It's an under. And I do think the Ravens will bounce back and win. And obviously we'll pick the Monday night game on Monday's podcast, and that is between the Vikings and the Bears in an NFC North clash. Now we'll discuss the KBO playoffs for a little bit. We haven't talked about it in a couple days. So we'll take a look right now at the latest. Yesterday, KT defeated Doosan 5-2 to force a Game 4. In a Game 4, Doosan came out on top 2-0. So Doosan wins the series in 4, and now they're on to the Korean series against the Dinos. 7-game series, best of 7. Doosan 79-61. The Dinos 83-55. I'm going to say the Dinos win it in 6 games. I think the Dinos are the better team. They've been the best team all year, the most dominant team all year. Mike Wright, Aaron Althair, Koo Chang Moo, Na Sung Bum, Parkman Woo, Drew Rusinski. This is a pretty good team. So, and I think the Dinos can beat some professional teams in Major League Baseball too. So, give me the Dinos in 6 games over Doosan. I think that the Bears can win a couple, but ultimately I think Doosan is just the better team, and that's what it comes down to for me. Now we'll do Masters. We'll go over the current leaderboard of the Masters. And in first place right now, you have Paul Casey and Dylan Fratelli at 7 under. Tied for third, Justin Thomas and Sun JM at 6 under. Tied for fifth, Xander Schauffele and Webb Simpson and Justin Rose at 5 under. Tied for eighth at 4 under. You got Hideki Matsuyama, Lewis Olson, Lee Westwood, Patrick Reed, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and Cam Champ. Tied for 16th with 3 under. Big tie, Jazz, Jan Wattenod, John Robb, Tony Finau, Matt Wallace, John Augustine, Matt Wolf, Abraham Ancer, Cam Smith, Adam Scott, Christian Beadenhout, and Bernard Langer. Tied for 27th, C.T. Pond, Mark Leishman, Larry Mize, Matt Kuchar, Bryson DeChambeau, Jason Day, Siwoo Kim, Sebastian Munoz, Ricky Fowler, Patrick Cantlay, and Bernd Wiesberger. Tied for 38th with 1 under, Jimmy Walker, Charles Howell III, Scotty Scheffler, Brandt Snecker, Kevin Kisner, Jason Kokrak, Henrik Stetson, Mike Weir, Ches Reavie, Danny Willett, JT Posson, Colin Morikawa, Billy Horschel, and Matt Fitzpatrick. And tied for 52nd at even, Brooks Koepka, Tommy Fleetwood, Ian Poulter, Gary Woodland, Green McDowell, Shugo Imara, Nick Taylor, Byung Hun An, Francisco Molinari, Max Homa, Andrew Putnam, and Victor Perez. And the other notables tied for 64th with 1 over, Kevin Na, Alec Ogletree, Bubba Watson, Tommy Fleetwood, Zach Johnson. Tied for 71st, Shane Lowry, Adam Hadwin, Jordan Spieth, Brendan Todd. Tied for 77th with 3 over, Rory McIlroy. Lucas Glover's tied for 87th with Tyler Duncan at 5 over. And tied for 89th with a score of 6 over at Andrew Landry, not Adam Landry. Whoops. Couple news items I want to hit really quickly. The Ivy League yesterday announced that it canceled winter sports. This is a pretty big deal, and the Ivy League always likes to get ahead of the curve. I said this when they canceled their fall sports, and they were the first ones to cancel their conference tournament in college basketball. And then everybody else followed suit after Rudy Gobert tested positive. And everybody's like, hey, see, the Ivy League knew. And the Ivy League is very, very, very strict. They're very protective of their athletes and their students. If I'm not mistaken, all their schools are doing remote learning too. And as of right now, it looks like the Patriot League is still doing college basketball. But we'll see about that. And now the question is, who else follows the Ivy League suit about winter sports? So obviously they have a lot of good schools in college basketball, such as Harvard, Yale, Princeton, sometimes good. And then in college hockey, there's their good team is Dartmouth. So it's just a big loss for those athletes that they won't get to play in their respective sports in the winter. And then they canceled the fall sports that were supposed to get moved to spring as well. And they're going to reevaluate for the rest of the spring sports at the end of February. So that was big news that came out of yesterday. But yeah, college football has had a lot of COVID postponements so far, and news just came down that Another game was postponed. Coastal Carolina against Troy. So I have to take that off my projections list. And in terms of the NFL, not many games were postponed or moved, and we haven't had a game moved in about a month. Although we've had a lot of close contact virus list players, but not necessarily COVID positives. So that's a good thing for the NFL. But college football, there's games getting moved left and right. And this week and last week, we've seen the most games moved or canceled outright all year long. And luckily, Wisconsin's going to be back on Saturday against Michigan, and they were off for a couple weeks as well. So, yeah, the big news of yesterday is that the Ivy League canceled winter sports. And now I just want to talk about briefly, there's a report out yesterday by Pierre LeBrun from The Athletic that the NHLPA did an executive board call, which was done, and it was really an update call. Same for the NHL governor's call today, or yesterday was an update, and the tweets was saying today, as in it was tweeted yesterday. The NHL did reiterate on the call that January 1st remains the target date to open the season, but also acknowledged on the call that it's subject to change. And he follows it up. More talk on governor's call about potential for a Canadian division and 3 U.S. divisions. Also the idea of teams playing 2-3 games in a row versus same team to limit travel and exposure. Sort of like baseball-style schedule, but again, nothing written in stone, just ideas right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what hockey does. I think a January 1st start should be the case, so you can open the season with the new year. Apparently the Winter Classic got moved due to COVID, so it won't be on January 1st. But January 1st will just be opening day, and maybe they'll have some games during the day and some games at night, and NBC will air some of the games, and NBCSN will have some others. So that would be interesting. So the 3 U.S. divisions and a Canadian division. The Canadian division obviously being the Maple Leafs, the Canadians, the Senators, the Jets, the Canucks, the Flames, the Oilers. And then the U.S. divisions will probably be the Metro teams in one. And then do some of the Atlantic holdovers. Or maybe mix the Atlantic holdovers with some of the Metro teams. Like do the Rangers, the Islanders, the Devils, the Sabres. So you combine there. And then the Penguins, Flyers, and the Capitals, and maybe the Hurricanes. And then you do Blackhawks, Red Wings. So you pair them in the same division again. The Panthers, the Lightning, the Blues, the Predators, the Avalanche, and maybe the Dallas Stars. And then the Pacific Division, keep your 3 California teams, so the Sharks, the Ducks, and the Kings. The Vegas Golden Knights, the Arizona Coyotes. And then you put some of the Central teams to the Pacific. So it makes more sense to put Colorado with those teams. So then make Colorado the 6th team, and then you could put a 7th team with that division. So let's go with the Minnesota Wild. Let's throw the Minnesota Wild in that division. Or no, it'd make more sense if the Dallas Stars were in that division than the Wild, right? Yeah, pick one of the Wild or the Stars in that division, and then do one of the Wild Stars, Blackhawks, Red Wings, Lightning, Panthers, Blues, Predators, and the Hurricanes, or you put the Hurricanes with the Rangers. So that's how I could see like the divisions potentially lining up if they do indeed do 3 U.S. divisions and 1 Canadian division. All right, now we'll do Fab 5 and Best Bet. For the week, we'll start Fab 5 in college football. I'm going to go back to the well again, guys. I'm going to lay the 12.5 with North Carolina. They've been very good to me this year. They were good to me last week, so I'm going to ride the ship again. So give me North Carolina minus the 12.5 against Wake Forest. I'm also going to go with Tulane minus the 3.5 against Army. I don't feel super about this one, but I feel good enough about it to pull the trigger. I am going to take Washington State getting the points against Oregon. I just think that that's a closer than expected game. I'm going to take I'm undecided between a couple here. I'm going to take SMU getting the 2.5 against Tulsa. I'm just surprised that they're not favored in that game. And last but not least, I'm taking Michigan plus the 4.5 against Wisconsin. It's Wisconsin's first game in a couple weeks. And in Moneyline Pick of the Week, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Michigan 2 plus 160 against Wisconsin. So again, the Fab 5: Tulane minus 3.5 against Army, North Carolina minus 2.5 against Wake Forest, Washington State plus 10.5 against Oregon, SMU plus 2.5 against Tulsa, and I like them to win outright too. And Michigan plus 4.5, and the Moneyline Pick of the Week plus 160 for the same Wolverines. And my rule for the Moneyline Pick of the Week in college, that it has to be over a field goal. That the against the spread has to be over the field goal. So that's the case in Michigan, so I'm taking Michigan plus 160 as my Moneyline Pick of the week as well. And the NFL picks. I'm going to lay the 3.5 with the Eagles against the Giants. I think the Giants are due for a shit game. I could see Daniel Jones turning the ball over a lot. I think that they can still be competitive in this game, but not cover. So I could see a world where the Eagles win by 4 or 5 or 6. So if the Eagles win by 6, I win the bet. That's just simple at this point. I'm going to lay the 5.5 with the Buccaneers against the Panthers. No Christian McCaffrey again. Bounce back spot for the Bucs and that offense and that defense. So I think you'll see a much better effort from the Buccaneers this week. I am also going to take the over in the Houston-Cleveland game. I think this is a bounce back spot for the Browns offense. After looking like shit 2 weeks ago against the Raiders, they're coming off a bye. Baker Mayfield's on the COVID list, but he's poised to be reactivated. And Houston's defense stinks, so I like over 48.5, and I think Houston can score with Cleveland too. So I think that's a shootout. I am going to take the Steelers minus 6.5 against the Bengals. I think that's very low, and I think Roethlisberger's poised to come back. And I think that the Bengals are very overvalued as an underdog here. And last but not least, I'm going to take the Chargers plus 1.5 against the Dolphins. I absolutely hate this pick with every bitter of my bone. Every bitter bone. I hate this pick. I absolutely hate this pick. I'm going to take that as my Moneyline Pick of the week. But the last of the Fab 5 is going to be Broncos plus 4.5 against the Raiders. So if you want to die with the Chargers, just take them straight up. So the last of the Fab 5 picks is Broncos plus 4.5. The money line pick of the week, Chargers plus 102 against the Dolphins. So without further ado, I'm going to repeat my picks again. Fab 5. Houston, Cleveland over 48.5. Eagles minus 3.5 against the Giants. Bucks minus 5.5 against the Bucks. Against the Panthers. Broncos plus 4.5 against the Raiders. I just think the Raiders win by less than 4.5, or maybe by 4. Steelers minus 6.5 against the Bengals. And the moneyline pick of the week, Chargers plus 102 against Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. And my best bet of the night, brought to you by FanDuel. Couple college games to choose from, obviously, tonight. This is a tough call. I'm going to take the over, the ridiculously low total of 48.5 with FAU and FIU for the best bet of the day. And that's brought to you by Sugar House this week. So I'm going to take the over 40.5 between FAU and FIU. Like I said earlier, FIU's defense stinks, and I think that FAU is due for a good bounce back effort here. So that's it for the podcast. I'll be back on Monday recapping everything from the weekend. And guess what, guys? It's 39.5 on Sugar House, so even better. So let's do it that instead. 39.5 in FAU, FIU. So we'll recap college football and the NFL on Monday and the Masters. KBO, we don't have to talk about that until next week. And any other news that breaks in the world of sports and pop culture, I'll have it for you as well. I hope you guys have a great weekend, everyone.